Hello, Jeff Manchester, Manchester Music. Welcome. Really excited to talk about this library. I know it's been out for a while, but not to me. To me, it does not exist until I did this video. So it's called Forzo. It's by Heavyocity. They make amazing things. If you don't know, this is one of them. We're still doing Black Friday stuff, I think, and there's going to be a Cyber Monday. So anyway, anything they make, you should buy, bottom line. But I'm doing this video because I'm not typically excited about horn libraries. I just don't really care. I've never cared about them. Mostly because they didn't have the things that I wanted, and also because I associate them, for better or for worse, with a kind of hybrid epic scoring, which is really not interesting to me. However, there was one sound that I was on the lookout for a really long time, and I could not find, and I'm pretty sure that it came from brass stuff. And in fact, I actually emailed Heavyocity about this. I'm like, if you have this particular articulation in a library of yours that I already own or don't, can you please point it out to me? I will buy it. And I described it in detail, left sound examples. They were a little busy, never got back to me. But it's basically this kind of crescendo, this bent crescendo. It kind of goes down. It goes like, and I hear it everywhere. And I've wanted it for a while. And I've tried to recreate it with a synth and with strings, and I just couldn't really do it. It's been in Sicario 1, the first one. Johan Johansson, the late great Johan Johansson. It has been in, I think it was in Hereditary. It's the same kind of rhythmic thing. They just loop it. And it was also in A Quiet Place. Anyway, I found it in Forzo. Traditional. Open it up. You got two traditional and evolve folders here. I'm going to go for the full ensemble. And then if we open it up here, we see, I was just looking around like, boom, bend or crescendo bend. So I assumed if I just hit the right notes, I would get the sound that I wanted. And by golly, did I ever. Believe it or not, this is what I've been looking for a long time. And to do it with a pitch or a mod wheel is just not the same as when you have this. So if you kind of slowed that down, smoothed it out, added some time-based effects, it becomes the basis, the soup for a really ominous, pulsing, throbbing kind of scene for a horror movie. And I've seen it used all over, and I'm really happy that I have it here. And we can change the tempo sync. We can make it, 0.5. I believe that's half as slow as it was normally recorded. And you'll notice that we have that little punch at the beginning, that like, it's like the the horns kind of unfurl. I don't like that. Have a listen. One of the great things we can do is go into the envelope and change the attack. So that's kind of where it's coming, I think. And we're going to go and delay it. I think 15 seconds is maybe a bit too much, but I'm going to increase the decay and the sustain. So now when I play it, we just get the nice kind of up and down, that kind of wave cresting. So to me, that is worth the price of admission alone. I've tried this in Spitfire's libraries. I tried it with some Native Instruments stuff. I've tried making it on my own. Never as successful as when I just kind of played with Forzo. I know that obviously you should not buy a whole sample library based on one articulation, but that's kind of how I work. If there's something I really like and it's done very well in one, I'm going to stick with it and use 1% of it if that 1% is what makes or breaks my cues and what I'm trying to do. But obviously, this is not going to be a full walkthrough review or whatever of Forzo. I'm just going to show you the crunchy bits, the parts that I really like. This is one of them. But obviously you'll see that we have a bunch of articulations here and we can change them. There's, our key switches are over here. And as ever with Heavyocity, you have like the first page welcoming you with the articulations. And then you have a second kind of loop playground here in Evolved. If I switch over here to Evolved, and the brass designer is incredible. What it does, I think, is it's oscillating between 3 different articulations, which you can set, and peppered in there are a bunch of effects. And there's also automation happening on the volume and the panning and sometimes the tuning and gating. it's a total playground. And the very first patch you're greeted with here is AMB, which stands for Ambient, I think, Replicant, which is a nod to 2049 Blade Runner. Again, it's a Zimmer thing, but the late Johan Johansson was originally behind this thing. So I think of him when I think of this movie. But just listen. I'm just going to put my fingers on the keys and play some random stuff, and it all sounds amazing, which is the point of sample libraries. For people who can't play very well and don't know how to read music very well, you can come up with something like this. I mean, that's like shaking my studio. It's incredible. And it's just like, put a couple fingers down and call it a day. Amazing. You can see the macro control. I think that is this guy going through the different articulations. And if you want, you can just click here and change it to something that you want. In my case, we can go back to the full ensemble, and there's the crescendo bend. And now I can make that a part of what I'm doing. And there it is, kind of swooping down. So let's keep moving here to some of the other snapshots. Native Instruments calls them, that I really like. Another one here is the airy staccati, which kind of gives you the vibe of like a character kind of waking up, in my opinion. Whatever, take it or leave it. Another one is Deeper Water. Let's go over there. Deeper Waters. Plays a little bit like an organ, if I'm being honest. Another one here is, let's see here, Distant something. Distant Voices. And again, if you've seen Hereditary, this reminds me a lot of the last scene in that movie. That's by Colin Stetson, by the way, Canadian. Amazing score, amazing movie. Let's go to Organic, where there's some more things that I really love. And some of the names of these are just great. A Gladiator's Welcome. This is what it sounds like. It sounds exactly what you think it's going to sound like. Make sure I have the right octave. Just beautiful. I didn't know horns could do this. I mean, I knew that horns could do this, but this recontextualizes the way I'm going to think about horns from now on. I think of them mostly, I think I said this earlier, as a support beam, but they can be a lot more than that. Or in this case, they can be epicons, which sounds like this. Beautiful decay on them when they go down. It's like someone shaking a cage. Last one here, and there's so much more to this library, but we're just gonna go through it here. Shrouded, it's called. I really liked. Amazing. There's also a bunch of different ones that I don't really go to. I don't really like the rhythmic or loop stuff. I should mention that there's another section called Brass Loop Designer, which sounds awesome. Oh, I've done it again. I should just drag it out. I don't know why I keep doing that. It sounds awesome, but it's just a little bit too much, like it's doing a little bit too much for you, in my opinion. Have a look. So I'll just hit C. Which is cool if you're doing like a trailer or something and you're on a time crunch. But to me, this library is all about the brass designer, and I showed you a little bit about how you can go in and tweak things. Of course, if you just want your, meat and potatoes, horn articulations, you've got your tubas, bass, trombones, trumpets, bunch of different trumpets in there, stopped or free, unclogged, full ensemble. You have everything here, and then you have this amazing kind of loop playground, which is very typical of sample libraries now. It's not enough to just offer up something that has, here's everything. We have to have a kind of loop designer and an engine into which everything runs and gets chopped up and perforated and sliced through, and hopefully it sounds awesome. And in this case, this is way better than I thought it would be. And no offense, Heavyocity, but I got Novo and I didn't quite love it. I thought the dry strings sounded pretty good, and then when I brought them into the designers and everything, it just wasn't really what I wanted. Maybe it's because I'm not really in that kind of genre, getting paid to do that kind of work. But with Forzo, it was just like I wanted to go out and find a hybrid library or a hybrid movie or some kind of epic movie because I had this amazing tool. thanks to Forzo, because it's phenomenal. You get lost in the patches, and I'm not really the kind to tweak and create my own stuff, but I think I might actually do that with this library because it's really easy to use. And if you click, you'll notice that, they give you very straightforward. Let's go to one. I think we're still in the performance section here. Let's go back to Evolved Brass Designer. I'll drag it in this time. If you click to change the articulation, it'll tell you exactly, where it's going to be spread. You can preview it. You can load it. You'll see exactly where it plays on the keys, what you have to hit in order to get that articulation. You can change the mic position. It's very easy to use, accessible, and it's all within Contact, which is kind of awesome. Anyway, I know this is not a full-fledged review, and we haven't gone through every nook and cranny. We probably used about 20% of this library, but it's freaking incredible. And if you're thinking about getting it, there's probably a Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal that is going to make it totally worth it for you. So I would say just get it. Forzo Heavyocity. It'll make you sound amazing, even if you're not. Bye.